Dear colleagues, I think I'll start now. The session will be conducted by Dharma sir, uh, kind enough to come in at the last minute. And honestly, he's been a very personal friend for some time now. And I always felt that he had done his engineering from BITS Pilani. Now I realize not only professional degree, but also master's in management studies, right? So, right, that was my mistake. I never realized that. Today, I'm sure all of you would go to have a good sense of negotiations. Just to give you an introduction of Dharma sir, he has done his advanced specialization program on leadership, product management from IIM Ahmedabad, and he really likes to support entrepreneurs. He has done courses in entrepreneurship from Wharton Business School, and he is also a certified corporate director, and currently is on the board of various firms and likes to mentor startups. Before getting into this role, respected Dharma sir was in senior level positions in Johnson & Johnson and Philips, and has been in the corporate world for about 10 years before he quit and then supported a family managed business for another 10 years. So he has a unique blend of both corporate as well as family managed businesses. He has worked extensively with that particular family managed business from end to end operations, so much so that he is now part of their family. Currently, sir's role is very simple. He has two interests. One, he has his own firm, which is known as Impact Sure Technologies, right, which is ably managed by Mr. Subramaniam. And sir he gives customized ERP solutions and apps. Second, sir personally likes to encourage, and he's mentoring a lot of startups. Some of them are family managed businesses. A very methodical person. Sir draws up MISs. He goes everything as per the system. So we were at I would not say a client, we were at a dear of students' place who are looking at their supporting their social venture. And sir came up, he said, I will not start with marketing. I would like to draw up a framework. And the next 3 hours, he drew up the framework for marketing. Because sir believes that, the first basic question he asks for every business people, and that's something which I want all of us to define. What is the very basic purpose of doing anything? So from there, sir defines the mission, vision, and then gets down. So prima facie, earlier I used to think, why are we really involving ourselves at this level? But then now I realize with any promoter or any company, starting with the vision and mission is absolutely important, because then you get into values and then intermingle the business plan there. One last thing about sir, he was on the national core member of the prestigious task force for the Prime Minister's office, met Vajpayee, and he says that was one of the greatest experience he had, 2001, 2003. And currently, sir's interest is in business turnaround. Please note, business turnaround, change management, and operational excellence. All of us know sir is very active on LinkedIn, and he keeps posting on LinkedIn. And that's again one passion for sir now. Just post about different corporates and motivate others, right? So long forgotten companies, their background, currently how they have adapted themselves to the new business. These are things that sir looks into. We call it as change management. With this, respected Dharma sir, I thank you very, very much for your time. Thank you very, very much for your time. Sir, over to you, sir. Please.
Thank you so much, Anil sir. It's a pleasure to listen to you. I don't even realize when on a Friday evening after a hard day's work, and when you listen to such nice words, your energy comes back manifold. So thank you so much, Anil sir. It's really boosted my energy. So nice to hear such very kind words, and I'm really flattered. It means a lot getting some nice words from you, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for this opportunity, and thanks for calling me, and it's an honor for me. And so I'd like to share some of my thoughts, whatever thing. So it's been a wonderful journey that I've had in the last few months during the lockdown, and enjoying the sessions that you've been conducting so passionately, and getting people together and things. So that also encouraged me to do many things. So the writing some of those blogs was also one of the initiatives that I started during this lockdown period. The purpose was to talk about companies, how companies have managed themselves for uh, over 50 years, 60 years, and many of them over 100 years. How they have successfully navigated their brand, how they have been successful for so many years and still being successful. As Sir mentioned about change management, how they have changed themselves over the years and how they sustain. They would have seen so many crises and yet come out of those crises and still manage to hold their people together, hold their brands together, and yet being successful. So that was a great inspiration for me. I wanted to understand what are they doing. So I started studying more about such people, such brands, and such organizations, and then I thought, let me share it with people like all of us, people like you, people like me, who've started on our journey, and some of us at various levels in our professional journey. And if there is some learning in those, if it can help us. So that was the initiative with which I started off. It gave me a lot of excitement. Programs like Menon Mantras gives me more excitement. So I'm happy to be here. So today's session, I thought we will touch upon one of the most important topics or important facets in business that we do on a daily basis, which is on negotiation. So negotiation is one of the very, very important skills. Maybe I can ask some of you, what do you think? Is negotiation a skill? Is it an art? Is it a function, or is it a part of something? What do you think? Do you want to? It's a skill. Some Gani says it's skill. Yep. Okay. What else? Why is it a skill?
Karambir ji again says skill. Gani ji says skill.
Okay. So skill means, is it natural, or can it be developed, or what should someone do to? So skills can be acquired through smart work and persistence. That's a great point. Yes, skills. So it can be developed over time. Is what negotiation. Now, what is negotiation? Where do you do negotiation? So I was conducting a session with an organization. One of the key, when I talked to their, in fact, it was not the top management, but senior management people who were of a startup company. They were business heads. And when I was interacting with them about the business, when they were how they go about their sales process with their customer thing, I asked them what was their biggest challenge. And invariably, they all said, they all fear negotiation. Now, is it something that to be feared of? I mean, especially if you're on the sales side, in a startup or thing. I was quite surprised at that answer of, they're afraid of negotiation, especially when the customer says he doesn't agree with the price and things like that. So should you be afraid of negotiation? So that was one thing. So I thought, let me just delve deep into what is negotiation. What is negotiation? The negotiation, as it's a Latin expression called it's called negotiators, to carry on. It just says to carry on business. The negotiation is about getting the best possible deal in the best possible way. To put it in a nutshell, it is involved to resolve disputes, to get an agreement, to have an advantage, or to gather a collective advantage, to come to an agreement or an outcome, to satisfy different people's interest. So you get into negotiation. So the word negotiation sounds a little bombastic, but it actually helps to arrive at a decision. It helps in your decision making. In fact, sir was asking in the evening when we were about to talk about what should be the topic of this today's session. Should it be decision making? I told Sir Anil sir that let's call it negotiation for the time being, but negotiation will help in the decision making in many ways, whether you are on whichever side of the table that you're, whether you're on the purchasing side or on the selling side. We'll talk more in detail as we go along. So that's about the definition of negotiation. Now, when do you do negotiation? In fact, you and me, everybody, we are all doing negotiations all the time. And who are the best negotiators? The kids. They know how to negotiate with you. They know you give them a chocolate, they will ask you when will they get the next chocolate. They fix up their agenda very clearly with you. Otherwise, in everything that you do, whether you're going for a shopping, whether you go at home when you're talking to your kids or with your siblings, you are negotiating all the time, whether it is for a corner seat, whether it's for a book, whether it is for a TV channel, whether it is for, you are negotiating, you're finding ways to come to a conclusion, to arrive at a thing. Work style, yes, on the work part, whether you're mediating between two warring factions or between two different sets of people, it is negotiation, or whether you are getting into a business deal. You are negotiating all the time. Agree? Yeah. So we are all familiar with negotiation in some way or the other. So it's nothing unique about it. At the same time, there are certain things which need to be, we need to take care while in the different situations that we are in. So talk of negotiation. Now, when we come to a business context, so I would like to talk about what are the common barriers to successful negotiation. Negotiation is not a confrontation. You're not here to fight with somebody. So that's one of the reasons why some people are afraid of negotiation. They think that the customer will fight with you, or the customer will get angry if you don't agree to if you're going as a vendor, if you don't agree to the customer's demand, the customer may get angry. It's not so. And even in your approach, the approach should not be for winning at any cost. When you look at situations like that, I need to win, that's when the things take a different perspective. Being emotional, it is important to maintain your cool, your calm, you control your emotions. Very important. So that comes in the way many times in your decision making or in your dialogue with somebody or with the other person. It comes in the way, your emotion, how emotion takes over you. Makes a big difference in your approach. It's easy to say you need to understand the other person's perspective. You are always right. That is one stand that thing. So the other person does not understand me. I mean, whether it is talking to your girlfriend or a fiance, or your husband or wife, or you're talking to your boss, the boss does not understand me. I'm just talking in general. The other person does not understand me. Is a common, whatever I'm trying to say, the person, they are not able to get it. So these come in the way of your negotiation and blaming the other person. So these are some of the barriers which always come in the way of negotiation, whether it's in your daily routine, whether it is in your life or in your business. The fundamentals are the same. These are just common sense. And many times we forget that. And then when we go into a situation, we get caught unawares, right? Clear so far? Yep. All right. Now going to the next part. The I'd like to talk about some of the different negotiating styles that people adopt, whether you're on the purchasing side or on the selling side. Okay, so the negotiation is common either way, right? You're either negotiating, you're a seller, you're going to a customer, you want to get a better deal, you want to sell it at a higher margin, you want to increase your profit margins, you want to get a better deal, you want to get better price, better payment terms, you want to get payment upfront from the customer, you want to have warranty terms fixed. So you have one perspective from if you go as a seller, and as a buyer, the buyer wants it at the lowest possible cost that is possible. He wants extra warranty. He wants to delay the payment as much as possible. Both have their own cycles. You may be both at some point in time, right? Either you're if you're selling some of your products and you go as a seller, but you may be as well buying in some other situation, even at home. If you're not handling a purchase decision in your organization, but you may be purchasing at your home, whether you're buying an air conditioner or buying your car, you're dealing. So how to do your negotiation? Everywhere negotiation happens, right? Every deal negotiation happens. Every deal. There is no deal where there is no negotiation. Even unless somebody says, I don't want to negotiate, no bargains. There are some shopkeepers who do that. There it is different. Still, some people try to negotiate there. So what are the different types of negotiating? This is little from a definition point of view. If you see a spectrum from one side where it says it is lose-win to win-lose. So it talks about, so on the left-hand side, if you see where you're almost submitting, if you're a seller and you're going to a customer and the customer has put in a lot of demands and you're desperate to get the order and you give in. You start to give in. So that is where, so it's a lose-win kind of situation. And then the graph moves towards the right where you have the collaboration, which is a win-win. And towards the end, it is the competition where it's a win-lose, where that is you win at any cost. The customer may lose, but I want to win. I want the better deal. So that's a win-lose. So technical terms, some of the definitions some management people have given. Win-lose is like a competitor kind of situation. Win-win, problem solvers. The win, each win and each win little and each win lose a little. So those are like, the middle ground compromisers. Accommodators are loose where, you have almost succumbed the customer win. And in some cases where both lose, it's a deal, it's a pathetic deal where the deal is done, but nobody is benefiting. So there, both of them are avoiding conflicts. What should you be looking at? Whether you are in the buyer side or whether you are in the selling side, the approach that one should take is win-win. Now, this is where you talk about when I asked about whether negotiation is a skill or an art or whatever, whether it is a skill or an art, if you get the fundamentals right, if you think that my approach is going to be win-win, I'm going to look at the best interest of both the parties, of all the parties involved. If you sincerely believe in that, trust me, you will get the best deal. The customer will also be happy. You will also be happy. So focus on that win-win. The moment you think win-win, you need to be empathetic about the customer as well if you're going as a seller. And if you say that this is my product, sir, when you do this, this is the benefit that you will derive out of this. And this is how you will save. You look at from his perspective and try to convince him. You will get a much better deal than just selling from your perspective. So I would urge you to think win-win, whether you are in in a situation of whether you're buying or selling. Even if you're buying, think win-win. Let the other person also get an opportunity to win. It will help you in the wrong way, in the long run. I would say there could be opportunities where you could have, gone for the kill. You just push the guy and say that if you want it, I want it at this particular price. If you give it to me at this price, I will accept it. Otherwise, I will not. The guy may be desperate, but he may be making a loss in doing that deal, and you're aware of that. Unless it is a dire situation for you, I think you should let that person also make some money, right? That will help in the long run. So the attitude of win-win is very important. I'm spending a little more time in this because this is one of the most important things in the negotiation. You're thinking win-win. So please build this attitude of thinking win-win in any situation that you are in. Now let me give you some tips for successful negotiations. First and foremost, prepare. Somebody mentioned very rightly earlier that it is, if you are, who had mentioned? I think Saurabh had mentioned about skill can be acquired through smart work and persistence. Yes, persistence is the key, where you need to be persistent. You need to prepare well for any negotiation. Make sure you're clear about what you want. What are your goals, and what are the goals of the other parties? You need to do a thorough groundwork. What are the issues to be tackled? What are your strong points before you get into a negotiation? Now, this negotiation can be in any circumstances, right? Whether, as I mentioned earlier, whether you're selling your product or whether you're buying a particular machinery. It can be for mergers also, or acquisitions. If you are looking at acquiring a particular company, or if you are looking at getting a better valuation for your company. If you're a startup and you want to raise money, how do you raise money? So you need better valuation. You need to have your storyline, your pitch document, and there is a whole process that is involved. And of course, there is negotiation involved, right? So it can be any situation that you are in, and in all those situations, you need to understand what are you talking. You do your groundwork very thoroughly. What are your strong points? What are your weak points? You should be aware. What is the customer's strong point, and what is the customer's weak point? You need to have a thorough analysis. So before you get into any deal, do your groundwork thoroughly. Nothing beats that. The more prepared you are, the better you will be a negotiator. Better, or the chances of the bigger success for you will be way higher, right? And then you have your groundwork ready of your minimum. What is the minimum that the other party will accept? So there are technical terminologies for that. I'm not getting into the technical terminologies like BATNA and zone of your negotiation, and all those things are there. I'm not getting into the technicalities of that. But in simple terms, if you talk, this is the minimum. What is the minimum that you can accept? What is the minimum that the customer can go to, or the other party can go to? You should have a sense. You should develop intuitive sense. And that intuitive sense will come through your preparation, right? And then you should also know your overall vision when you get into a negotiation, whether it falls in line with your company philosophy or if with your overall larger goals, and not just look at just one-off transactions. Of course, there may be exceptions where you'll be looking at one-off transactions, but largely you look at it from a holistic picture, right? So in short, preparation is the key. Now, as I said, preparation is the key. So for preparation, what you need is information, research. You research about the person, you research about the situation that he is in. If you are going to a customer, what is his, you study now with so much of information, internet, LinkedIn, and all those tools available, make the best use of it. Social media, everything is available. Make the best use of it. Research about the person with whom you are going to meet, about the department you're going to meet. So who is your who is the decision maker, who is the influencer. You need to know the entire set of details. So map it thoroughly, identify each person's or the department's strength and weaknesses, their situation. What is the situation in which they're buying? Did they buy something else with some other company earlier? Did they face some issue with that? And if you have such information with you, you will be in a much better situation to talk to the customer, to convince him in a little more firm way. So you need to prepare well. You have supporting information for that. You need to anticipate what kind of queries that the customer is also, you have to also understand the customer has also become intelligent. The customer also has all the information available. Now, I started off as a salesman 25 years ago. When I started off as a salesman, I did not have the tools. There was no laptop then. We had a huge desktop in the office. We used to share one desktop among 10 people. For sending a quotation, we used to stand in a queue to a client, right? We will stand in a queue. Okay, I will send mine, and then my colleague will be behind me to send his quotation and things like that. It was that era. We did not have fancy brochures. There was no mobile phones or nothing. And when we went to the customer, we had to make the customer aware of our product. We had to make the customer aware of our competition. So the information, so the competition also would be feeding information about their product and about their competitors as in our product and things like that. So the customer used to get information through the vendors. The vendors used to feed information. They used to educate the customers about the industry, about your product, about the competition and things like that. And then it would get into a price negotiation, and the customer would say, it would get into a bargain. But today, the situation is drastically different. We are living in an information age. You don't have to educate the customer on anything. The customer is a lot more far well prepared. In fact, he comes much better prepared than we do in many cases. Unfortunately, that is the situation, because he also does his thorough groundwork. So all information is available with him. And your information about your product, the features, the competition, the industry, what is growing, what is not growing, what are the challenges, everything is aware. And he knows his ROI. The situation has changed now. So you need to know that the customer knows everything. So, and he may ask you a lot of tricky questions. So be prepared of what kind of questions that the customer can ask you. And nowadays, many times it is more like, it has actually become simple. I would say the negotiation has become simple. It is more of a relationship building than you get into a price discussion. Now, to me, I don't now spend lots of days in haggling on a price. It doesn't matter at all. Now the customers say, I just ask the customer is well prepared. We ask the customer, do you have a target price in mind? Now the customer is also aware. Now he says, okay, I want a particular product. I want these features, and these features, I want it at this particular price. Now it is for you to go back and do your groundwork and whether it is possible or not to give that particular product at that particular price. If not, then you need to convince him as to why your product has a little more premium or whatever. But then largely the customer is aware and he gives you a target price. So remember to ask this target price when you ask these questions or when you get in touch with them. So, remember that the customer will ask you a lot of questions, and make sure that you are prepared in case you need expert opinion. Take those expert opinions and go prepared. Now, let me give you some tips about how to handle negotiation or how to conduct yourself during the negotiation. As I mentioned, negotiation is not a fight. You are not getting into a debate, or you're not, it's not one versus the other or something like that. So be respectful always and express your respect and respect the expertise of the other person. Always be positive in your communication. Don't be negative. Remain flexible, be amenable, maintain your poise, be cool and composed, and be friendly always, right? The customers also like to deal with friendly people and not with somebody who's always very finicky or very rigid, right? So be cool and composed, and have a pleasing demeanor. That helps. Just many times, just a simple smile will help you in getting a much better deal than having a stiff-necked approach, right? So get off to a good start, maintain a good rapport with the customer. After all, we're all in the same boat, right? Look at it from that perspective. As I mentioned, think win-win. Now coming to your interaction with the customer, one of the most important things is questions. So as I mentioned, pre-research is very important. Information is power. Gather as much information as possible. Use those information and still ask questions with the customer. The more the question you ask, the better you will maintain the rapport, the better you will understand his perspective. So, and also it will, you will get certain insights from the customers, from what his expectations are. There are certain things you may not have calculated or you may not have anticipated, but just by asking simple questions, you will get lots of insights, which will help you position yourself much better in front of the customer. So always have a thorough checklist of questions. So in your preparation, so as I mentioned, prepare. You need to have a thorough checklist of questions, whether you're sitting on the purchasing side or whether you're sitting on the selling side. In either cases, you need to have a good repository of questions that you need to interact, and make sure you ask those questions. This will help quite a good deal in both the parties' minds. So, and generally the questions should be neutral, what they call as open neutral questions. It's like let me give you just spend a minute on it, on the different types of questions. One is like the open neutral questions. Another is open leading question. And the third one is the closed questions. Now the closed questions are like, it's like yes or no. You are actually closed and you don't have, you just force the other person to get the answer that you want. The next type of questions are open leading questions. Would you like it this way or this way? It's just leading the person to a particular question. And the third type is the open neutral, like how kids ask. Most of the kids, they ask, right? They don't have any bias in their head. They don't think. They're just so bindas, right? They just ask anything. Why is the moon circular? It's like very open, very questions. So like that, it's a good habit to prepare yourself in an open, neutral way. As we mature, we have become closed in nature, unfortunately. So we tend to shift towards the open leading questions or open or the closed questions. But I would urge that you come back to the basics and train yourself to ask open, neutral questions. So that will help the person. So you say, well, you know, what are the time frames you're looking for? Instead of asking, do you need this product in 1 month's time or 2 months' time? That becomes a open leading question. Instead, you ask a simple, open, neutral question like, what is the time frame you're looking for? So like that, I mean, that's just a simple example that I mentioned. So you need to have a good checklist of questions that you would ask and make sure that you ask them. And similarly, make sure that you give the other person also a chance to ask questions. So this is when you spend more in your negotiation, when you're sitting with the person on the table, make sure maximum time is spent on this. And this would lead to a big success, right? Now let me talk about the finer, since this topic I had chosen as skills and art boarding. So I thought, let me cover the holistic, a complete thing. So I wanted to add a little bit of flavor to it. So than just the technicalities, tone is very important. If the other side is formal, you don't be very casual. You don't show your funky nature. If the other side is formal, you also be formal, right? So don't crack unnecessary jokes. Sense of humor is always good, but not to the extent that your jokes are offending and it cheeses off the other person. Talk softly, but firmly with a purpose. Pause. Now, this pause is one very important tool that one should master, whether you're on the selling side or on the purchasing side. You know, when I started my sales career, one of the sales trainer, I had a wonderful sales trainer who taught us some of these skills about how to handle the tone and the pitch and the pause. So he moted it very well. You know, many times you go to a customer and you start selling that, sir, this is my product, and this product is 25,000 rupees, and I'm giving it to you at a special price. I'm giving you a discount of 3,000 rupees. I will give it to you at 22,000 rupees. You know, the customer has not asked for a discount. From 25,000, you've already brought it down to 22,000. You've given a 3,000 rupees discount. And the customer is just looking like this. And he just looks up and he just looks at you. And he pauses for a few seconds. That pause becomes very uncomfortable for you. And you tend to say, sir, I can still reduce it further. I'll get a special price. I'll give it to you at 20,000 rupees, sir, please. So, and then the customer again looks at you. Your price from 25,000, many times you've noticed that just the customer has not uttered a word. He's just looked at you. A stare. And with that, your price has come down. And this has happened so many deals. What did the customer do? He used a technique called pause very effectively. I would say master this art of pause. A few seconds of still silence. It helps break the monotony and change the deal to a much better situation in whichever place you are in. These are fine tips that I learned over the years that I'm sharing it with you all. Maybe you can try it out. It works. So stop, use the pause, but listen to the other side. Remember that it's a two-way exchange. And when you're doing, don't let your ego do the talk. Leave your ego aside, please. Be in the moment, have a smile, have a pleasing demeanor, be cool and composed, and talk softly with the customer. So as they say, it is not what you said that is important. It is how you said that will be important. That will make you get a better deal than what you would have otherwise thought of. Body language. I don't want to, this itself is a big subject. I don't want to delve deep in the body language part of it, but I just want to put this in perspective. There are many things that you can find about about the body language thing. But certain tips that I want to mention during the body language, from what I gathered, the insights from my seniors. All these are learnings from my seniors and all these things over the last 25 years of corporate experience that I have. So when you're going to a customer, if the customer avoids your eye, he doesn't give you an eye contact, many times it's a signal that he's not serious about buying it from you. Watch out for those. We were appointing, when I was working with one of the clients, one of my previous companies, and they were largely a dealer-driven company. As in, my job was to appoint as many dealers and then to support the dealers thing. So the critical thing was to appoint dealers. And my boss used to tell me that when you are going to appoint a dealer, if the dealer doesn't look at you in your eyes and speak, don't waste your time on him. Just come out of it, because he's not going to be trustworthy. He will not help you in the long run. So eye contact is one major aspect. From your side, you also ensure, remember that the other side is also watching your body language. If you don't maintain that eye contact, that means he gets a cue that you are not serious about the deal. Make sure that you are aware of this and ensure that if you're serious about the deal, maintain eye contact. I'm not delving deeper into the other aspects of your dress code and how to talk about what kind of movements, gestures. I mean, I just want to just simply say that maintain a calm and a composed demeanor in a poised way. Sit upright, not a slouch, doesn't help. It will make you look weak in front of the customer and the customer will go for the kill. So be firm, sit upright, and then, these subtle things also matter a lot in the negotiation. This can be in any situation. So I'm talking about whether you're in a merger situation or an acquisition situation, or getting a better valuation for your client, or whether you're sitting in front of your bank and getting a better interest rate with the bank. I see in the Telegram group, people talk about getting a lot about interest rates, getting better interest rate from the banks. These are all negotiations, right? Use some of these tips. It may be helpful for you all, right? Don't get defensive. If the customer says something, you don't have to defend. You can handle it in a much pleasing way and in a more effective way and firmly, and never go aggressive. Maintain your calm. That will help you in a much better way. Going aggressive will not get you a better deal. It will in fact spoil the deal for you. The more calm you are, the more powerful you become. So I will keep insisting on that aspect, right? How you read the body language of the customer. Remember that the customer also will be reading your body language. Be conscious of it. And when you're reading the other person's body language, make sure whether is he trying to dominate you, whether is he nervous. Please be conscious of it, and then position yourself accordingly. Right? Now, another important aspect, like how I mentioned about the probing skills or the questioning skills or the type of questioning that you do. That's one of the main aspects in negotiation. The another big aspect is the listening skills. This listening is an underrated word. Now, thankfully, now a lot of people have brought in the importance of listening in many things, whether you're in anything that you do, whether you are dealing with your family, whether you're dealing with your friend, your spouse, your children, or with your boss, with your customer, with your vendor. Listening plays the most important role. Please listen to the other side. Don't interrupt. As I mentioned, silence is golden. Many times pause helps in your thing, but at the same time, be attentive. It is not, pause doesn't mean close your mind. It doesn't mean that. Pause means be in silence and listen attentively. Don't jump to conclusions. Don't jump to an offer. Don't jump don't get perturbed about a rejection. The customer says, your price is so high. I cannot go ahead with this deal. If he says that, don't jump into it. Take your time to respond. Be calm. Pause for the moment. Listen quietly till he completes whatever. The pause itself will change the situation for you. So as they say, every good conversation starts with good listening. So develop the trait of listening. Listening skills itself is a vast subject. Just put these in a nutshell for you all. I talked about questioning skills. I talked about listening skills. Now, many times what happens is we do all those questions and all those things, but finally we are shy of asking that most important thing. If you're going to sell, our job is to sell, and for a salesman, nothing is more exciting for a salesman than getting a purchase order. And after one gets the purchase order, it's the payment check, or nowadays it comes online. But getting the purchase order and then the payment is the most important thing. Why should we be shy of asking the customer, saying that, sir, when can I get the purchase order? Ask. Purchase order is one aspect. In many things, sometimes in most of the situation, we are shy of asking a customer, what will he think? Will he feel bad? Will I lose the deal if I ask this? So please do not be shy of that. If you don't ask, you don't get it. Just remember that. If you don't ask, you don't get it. So please make sure you develop this habit of asking. You're not going to be offending somebody by asking. You can do it in a polite and a nice way, but make sure you ask. And this is one of the tricky things which many people miss in a negotiation. It's a very simple thing. The simple thing like asking, okay, when can I get the deal? Or when can we meet next? When can we sing? The small things which can be a game changer. So think of these and make sure that you ask, right? But the asking should be in a polite way. It should not be like ultimatums. So there you need to be very careful. Now this asking is about, even if you want to charge a premium for a particular product, you can still do that in a nice way by asking certain questions. Another thing is that now some more tips that I wanted to tell. If you're going for a deal and the customer is giving you an offer, should you accept the deal, even though it's a sweet deal that the customer is giving you, right? Now, it's a bit of psychology also here. Now, the customer has given you a sweet deal. In fact, he gave you a better deal than what you actually anticipated. Yet I would say that accept it don't accept it blindly, saying that, okay, oh wow, I didn't expect this. I'm so happy that you gave me this. Please do not do that. Give him a chance that let him feel that he has given you something great, and he has done something great for you. And so you give him a feeling that even though it is so difficult for you to accept, or sir, never accept it so openly. Do a little bit of, I mean, for lack of words, I would say drama, but the make sure that, you know, you're pricey. You say, sir, I will have to talk to my people. I don't know if they will accept it. I'll have to think about it, and all that. You know, just a little bit of exaggeration will be useful in such cases. So don't accept anything so blindly. So whether in either cases, so that the other person also feels the importance. This will also be useful in the long run. So these are some of the fine tips which I just wanted to share this close group. So, and many times what happens is, on one hand, it is important to be empathetic, right? But you don't have to feel sympathetic and absorb all the problems of the other person. Remember the other person, like how I said, don't accept the first offer and do a little bit of drama, do a little bit of exaggeration. You never know, the other person also may be coming up with a lot of excuses. There may be a lot of sob stories. I have this problem, that problem. In negotiation, all this happen. Now, if there are problems, you don't have to absorb all the problems. You can be empathetic. You can listen to the customer or listen to those problems. You can offer solutions to those problems. You can look at innovative ways or creative ways of solving those problems, but you don't have to take all the problems on your head. So in fact, that will be detrimental to the whole thing. So this is a very important skill that one needs to develop, that while not getting into the shoes of the customer and absorbing all the problems, staying away, yet try and solve the problem for them. That will take the relationship to a much longer level, where you will also be happy and the other person will also be happy. If you absorb the problems, what will happen is, you may solve the problem one time, but in the process, you will get drained out. You will lose your energy. You will get stressed out. Now, it is important that you maintain your energy and zeal and all that, and you need to win deals after deals. Otherwise, next time what will happen is, if the one time you may do, second time you may do, third time, arey yaar, wo phone kar deta hai, mere ko pareshan kar deta hai, I don't know what to tell him. You should not land into that situation. How can you not land into that situation? Is by maintaining that protocol, not absorbing their problems, at the same time understanding their problem and provide solution for them. So there is a thin line between them. Many times we forget that, and it leads to more complications. In the feeling that you're actually trying to help the other person, you end up in bigger problems yourself, and it creates a confusion for everybody. So remember this. So I'm trying to see, many things are even life skills which you use it on a daily basis, but largely used in the negotiation in a business scenario. These are very, very common. Okay. Another important thing, please stick to your principles. Ethics, very important. You don't have to sell your soul for a particular deal. Write down the values that are important for you, and please do not compromise on those values at all. You may win some deals, you may lose some deals, but in the long run, what will take you or what will make you successful is how well you are able to stick to your values. So never compromise on the values or your principles. These are fundamentals. some short term, you may win by compromising, you may win few deals here and there, but in the long run, it has never helped anybody by compromising. So please do not do that. I would urge you all to say that stick to your core principles, stick to your values. That is what will take you to the, for years after years. I was talking about, I was writing about companies who have survived for generations, fourth generation, fifth generation going on. They have, so many companies have lived beyond 50 years, 60 years, 100 years. What is that one thing that has carried on from generations to generations? The company may have changed, their businesses may have changed. Sir talked about change management. I talk of new management principles called pivoting, transformation, and all those things may happen. But one thing, if that can be constant, it is the values, it is the principles, it is the ethics. That's, you would have seen all those family businesses who have survived for generations. They have survived because of their principles. So make sure that you never compromise on your principles. Some of the things which you should not be afraid to. Sometimes you may need to say a no to a customer. You know, if it doesn't suit you. You don't need to be afraid to say a no. You may lose a particular deal on that particular day, but you will never lose a customer. If your values are intact, if you've done all those whatever things correctly, if you've practiced well, prepared well, you've done your things well, you've taken care, you build the trust of the customer, you build the relationship, you've done all those things correctly, and yet the deal, it is not working to your favor, and you do not want the deal to happen at that particular, in that scenario, please do not be desperate to take the deal. Do not be afraid to say a no. In many times when you are bargaining with the street vendor, you know, you may walk away, right? He is offering it to you at 100 rupees and you say that, no, I want it at 60 rupees, then I don't want it, and come back, and he comes back to you. So many times when you say no, the customer may come back to you saying that, no, it's okay, come here, let's talk now. So sometimes he may test you also, or sometimes he may not understand the intricacy of the situation, but you need not be afraid. You should not be afraid to say a no or to hand. However, tread it with caution. I mean, that doesn't mean that, you know, you be saying that, Abhi, no, you say no to anything. That may not work, right? So you need to weigh the situation, the pros and cons, and then act accordingly, act responsibly. It's a beautiful quote that I saw. In business as in life, you don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate in anything, right? They say, you know, you don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate. Think about it. It's a very powerful statement. Closing. Now, this closing is another very important factor. If you're striking a deal with a customer, you ensure that you go for the close. Many times people forget this closing thing, and many deals get buggered up at this stage. You finalize whether you're selling it, you finalize the deal with the customer, and customer says, yes, let me go ahead. The day the customer says go ahead, make sure that you get a commitment from him. Make sure that he gives you either a letter or a token or a whatever. You know, that closing has to be there. Don't assume that it is, I've discussed, the customer is happy and order to aa jayega. No, the order will not come automatically. You will have to push the customer to send that purchase order. So for a sales guy, the order is never complete till he gets a purchase order. It's even after the order is received is still not complete. You have the payment process, you have the delivery process, and all those things are there. But at least from a closure, from the immediate closure point of view, getting that purchase order on hand is important. Likewise, if you are on the other side, get that commitment from the vendor on paper. If you strike a deal, ensure that all those points are covered, minuted, and then get a confirmation. Very important. Don't leave it hanging. Most deals get spoiled at this stage, or it does not get completed at this stage, and without even you realizing what happened. Some competitor may get in at this stage, and then it's a bigger shock for you. I mean, after having gone through all those things, and somebody slips it in at the last minute. So ensure that you get this closure done. Very important. And majority of the deals get lost here. So these are some of the tips that I wanted to share with you. A fine tips on, I try to put in various factors in the negotiation, in business, in life, and thing. So negotiation as a topic is very vast. Now, finally, it gets into contracting. It is used in litigations. It is used in arbitration. It is used in mergers, acquisitions, contracts, and in so many aspects. So it's a vast subject, and we can get deeper and deeper. But I thought in this 1 hour of time, let me just share some of the tips that I learned over the years with you all. And so that's it from my side. Thank you. So my closing line, when I started by saying that people used to be afraid of negotiations in situations, I just wanted to say that let us never negotiate out of fear, but let us never fear to negotiate. Happy negotiations. Wish you all great success in your business journey and in your life. Thank you so much. I'm open to any questions, any thoughts, any ideas, anything that you would like to know.
So one very important thing, I think Dr. Vinod Nair mentioned is we have to negotiate at every stage in life. Dharma sir, I think, I'm sure it would have caught your attention also in the chat. Right, sir, doctor was saying that I negotiate with my wife and daughters also. So a quick summary, is that we don't really pay attention to this very important tool, but a lot of people who are very successful business leaders pay a lot of attention to negotiations. They prepare themselves very well. They know the background. They do their homework. During the meeting, their body language is very strong. They are empathetic, right? But yes, very important line, don't take the other person's problems onto you, because maybe once in a while you can solve it, but that cannot be a permanent thing. Listening skills extremely important, right? At the end of it, it should be any deal. Sir, that slide was lovely, sir. At any deal, we could have a win-win situation, but yes, there are various permutations and combinations possible. Right? Do not negotiate out of fear, but right is a wonderful line, but don't fear to negotiate also. I think some of the consummate deals in mergers and acquisitions that I have seen is why Tata's could get Choruses. Unions were much more comfortable with Tata's as compared to the other opposing bidders. Talking of value systems, I think that is one last line I would like to say. My personal belief is that value system is something that takes you over a period of time. It is time tested. So there are certain companies, I was telling Dharma sir that, doing business in India is extremely tough, but there are certain companies which simply refuse to bribe, and they are ready to go through the entire process. So once the guy at the other end knows that, this is a company with very highest values, then of course their way of looking at you also changes. Super class, sir, as expected, super class. Abhishek, but I had Arun Bauji in mind when I said this. I remember being told that, Arunji simply refused to bribe and kept on submitting documents for 2.5 years to get a refund from income tax. And then finally the guy said, okay, this is one company which will not use a shortcut. And even today that respect is there with the government departments about Damodar Industries. The moment you said value, sir, that was one thought immediately which came into my mind. Gunny was telling me one very important thing. He says, this is a land of opportunities, United States. And one reason possibly is because the lower end of corruption is not that high as that of India. Two very contrasting statements today. If you realize it said that GDP contraction is expected to be 10%. India is going to have a tougher period than 1991. I hope that has caught your attention. Second, the stock markets are very high, right? So this is a very perplexing statement. I hope it has caught your attention today. Dharma sir, super class as always, sir, right? And I can only tell you, sir, to hear you speak itself is a privilege. It's an absolute privilege.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I think Saurabh Bete has already given the remarks. This is just a precursor to negotiations. Respected Dharma sir has his Impact Sure Academy and already sir is looking at conducting some sessions on advanced negotiations. Dharma sir, Saurabh Bete is very interested in getting in touch with you. And I'm very quite open when I say this. Now I feel very happy connecting people to each other, whether it is business to business or professionals to business, right? So yes, I am announcing this on behalf of Dharma sir, on behalf of Impact Sure Academy. Okay. You could have advanced courses on specific topics, whether it is M&A, whether it is purchase, whether it is vendor negotiations. Please do approach. You could approach me. I'll give you Dharma sir's number, or you could approach Dharma sir directly. Saurabh Bete, I'll pass on Dharma sir's number. Thank you, sir. Abhishek Biyani has made a classic line, right? Not like his normal mischievous self. He says, always a pleasure to hear Dharma sir. Okay. Last time he wrote something, I got into major trouble. So right, this time I'm going to keep quiet. Thank you, Bete. Thank you. Thank you, Dharma sir. Thank you, all of you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Saurabh. Thank you, Abhishek. Thanks for those kind words. All of you, Karambir, Gunny, Saurabh, amazing. Feels wonderful to listen to this. Thank you so much.
Gunny, your vote of thanks.
Sir, you put me in a dilemma. Dharma sir, very soft and very penetrating session. Very nice. The first thing when you said that you always keep your poise, keep your body language, and I could see that such big statements coming with a smile on your face, that itself says that how good you are at negotiation. So thank you very much. Probably Anil sir has created this platform where two people can do business with each other. And if somebody is connecting with you, please understand that they will be using the same techniques to negotiate with you also, because that training was good. So thank you very much. Anil sir, thank you for the opportunity. It's not that I'm shy, but I'm not that knowledgeable to speak on anybody's behalf. I'm a very minuscule person. That's why I keep avoiding calls. And right now I'm in office also. So thank you, Dharma sir. Your previous session is still, I listen to those in between. Whenever I get times, I listen to your previous session. And this definitely I'll circulate in my US office people, because we are a team of 14 buyers. So I'll circulate this to them. It's really good.
Thank you so much, Gunny. It's an honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Gunny. That's the only way I could let others hear your voice. I love your voice. Thank you, all of you all.